What up YouTube family, welcome to the video. So just got off work. Today is May 6th. Hopefully I can have this uploaded, edited today, because I actually promised, I'm assuming it's a family member of the channel or whoever the guy was. He asked me a question about my fuel setup, and I promised at the time when he sent that message I was heading to Austin, and I just came back from Austin this Monday. So like I said, I just got off work and I wanted to make sure I got this video out, but I'm real tired, I ain't gonna lie to you. So let's begin, family. So this is pretty much, I think, one of the main important stuff you should do when boosting your 8-gen Civic Si, or just, you know, naturally aspirated, especially when using fuels like E85, etc. Now, I'm sure most of you guys know this already, but like I said, the guy asked me about it, and, you know, I promised I'd do a video on it. So for all the professionals who have, you know, way powerful SIs than I do, I'm sure you guys know all this already, but for the guys who are getting new into this, I don't think it's nothing hard. Like I always say, take everything what I say with a grain of salt. I'm not a mechanic. I don't want to be a mechanic. I don't want to be a professional. I just love the hobby and the sport. But I think anybody can do this. I thought at one point, and let me know if it's something people be interested, you guys will be interested in the future, but I thought about selling this fuel setup as a package. But when I show you guys, I'm sure it'll be easy. Any of you guys could do this. It's nothing hard. It just takes some time and patience. So like I said, it's one necessary mod when you're starting to add power to your car. Now, as you guys know, these cars came stock with a returnless fuel system. So to give you guys a good example, I have my motor here. So if this was a stock fuel rail, it will only have one line, which sits somewhere here, stock. If you guys have your stock car, you will know how to locate that. It's a stock car line. I think it's a 3/8 somewhere around that area, 5/16 3/8. And again, it's just one line, and everything is regulated by computer, you know, voltage regulator and all that. And there's a special thing that you need, which I'll show you guys later, that is important for when switching over to a return setup. But everything is done inside of the tank. But you know what I have here now with the return setup, my feed goes through here, goes through this grams regulator, and you know, regulates the amount of fuel depending on my boost pressure, which is one of the main important things, because you want everything to be 1-to-1. I don't want to sound smart here. All this information is online. That's how I learned. But you don't want to be maxing out injectors quick with the return system. So with these 2200s, if I was to run a returnless, I would already max these injectors out, because they'll be fighting against the vacuum pressure created from, you know, the boost and all that. But you know, from the help with the return setup, I'm able to, you know, have decent duty cycles and not max out quick. So like I said, feeds through here, goes to the regulator, and returns to the tank. Now I'm running -6 AN lines. A lot of articles that I read, and I'm sure people would recommend going with a -8 feed and a -6 return. Fuel wasn't my issue, especially when we were making power on the dyno. Everything was good with my fuel setup, so I'm sure you can make decent power with a -6 line. But you know, consult your tuner, know what you want to make, and you know, build around what your power goal is. At first, my power goal was around 600, and I know a -6 will work. And now if I plan to make more, I can always step it up and just buy -8 fittings and -8 line. So I'm gonna go inside the trunk and show you guys the setup I have. I'm running a surge tank, which is not necessary, but let me just show you guys how it looks. Alright guys, so excuse the mess. As you know, this car is torn apart. So here is my fuel surge tank. Now this is no way necessary if you're doing a return setup. I just did this to learn as much as I can, just to try it. learn how to plumb fuel lines, learn how to run my first relay, my first fuel switch, lots of things, man. Like I said, and I've said this a million times, I want to learn as much as I can, so if I can incorporate, put it to another platform. So who knows, in the future, I like to build an all-wheel drive Civic. If I have to run a search tank in the trunk, you know, I already know how to plumb one. You know, small things like that. But for the average person, you know, this is not necessary. Most of the time, a search tank is used in autocross, and this car is not, you know, an autocross car. This is just a street straight line car. So, but if you're interested in how I have this plumbed up, this here is just a 2-liter tank I picked up off eBay. Hopefully in the future I can learn how to make one of these or in bigger capacity. Here is AM Bosch 044 style inline pump. AM, what else? A lot of people probably mistake this for a fuel filter. It's a Russell check valve. You want to make sure you have a check valve in certain things like this. I'm sure you know what a check valve is anyways, but I just want to make sure my fuel is flowing in the correct direction. Yeah, not much really. It looks complicated, but trust me, it's easy. At first I didn't know what I was doing, but shit like this, man, you gotta do practice, you know. I can read, you can watch as much video as you want. In my opinion, that's how I learn. A visual and practice goes a long way, man. If you have the part right in front of you, it's so much easy. So stuff like radium, fuel surge, all that shit looked complicated at first, man. But if I had to have one right in front of me, just learning from this, it'll come easy. But you know, still learning as I go, man. So here I have 3 lines. So the way how I have this routed is the fuel comes from the in tank, from the OEM tank, goes into the fuel cell, sucks stuff from the pump, goes to the fuel rail, comes out from the fuel rail, goes into the cell, and drained into the tank. So nothing crazy. But like I said, this side I'll show you guys this. So let's go to the actual OEM fuel setup. Obviously you have to remove your back seat. I'm sure you guys know how to do that. If you know how to change your oil, it's easy to remove one of these back seats. There's a lot of videos online how to do so. So obviously you can see this is the OEM location of the fuel tank and the fuel pump cage, all that fancy jazz. So just to backtrack a bit, so you can run the OEM feed line and adapt a 5/16 to 6AN or 8AN, how big of a line you want. I would just recommend going all you know, fuel hose, big size, like, you know, like what I have running here, especially if you're gonna run E85. I'm sure those lines as well can hold up to E85, but the OEM line, but just, you know, my opinion, I just took all that shit out and I'm just running these braided hose style. So it's all up to you. You know, you do what's best for your car, or whatever your tuner or your best friend or whoever you trust tells you to do. So I'm gonna take this out, and it'll be much easier for me to explain, you know, what I got going on here. But this is not hard to remove at all. This ring is a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. Just be careful if you're taking this out for your first time, you don't crack this. And watch, the orientation is an arrow. That, you know, I actually have a whole video on this, man, 2 years ago on me doing this, but I'm not sure if it's something a lot of people will be interested in. But I have a whole video of me making the pump, doing the whole setup and all that, man. But I just want to make this a quick video, which I'm sure is already long, and I'm just give you guys a brief overview. But let me take this pump out and show you guys the whole fuel cage. Alright, so finally got it out. Took some time. Not something I want to just take out on a, you know, on a regular. But like I said, you know, the guy wanted to have a little bit of info on it, and I just want to show him as much as I can. So nothing special to it. So this is what I wanted to sell as a whole assembly minus the pump. I don't want to rob anyone, but the pump is not expensive. It's $160 some. It's a Deechworks. I think it's a 340 pump. So I already have a good pump in it. So this pump is good enough for the power I want to support. Especially if I add a relay to it, because I'm sure you guys know with voltage and all that, especially when it's on a lot of pressure, you know, it's not going to be straight 12 volts on the system. So it's always recommended to add a relay. I'm sure you guys know all of this, but it's all, you know, it's recommended to add a relay so you're getting the full 12 volts from, you know, these small wires from the, you know, the fuel sending unit. But this is something I wanted to do, you know, like I mentioned this a few times. I want to try and make some money on the side, man, and, you know, branch out and, you know, be more, not an entrepreneur, but, you know, just use a little skill I've learned. And like, but, you know, this shit is simple, you know, so I don't want to try and rob people or act special and shit. You just tap a hole up here, which you got to be careful because there's some webbing, as you can see, that you have to grind down so you can put a lock nut on the bottom. I'm going to tear this all apart so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But pretty simple. You know, this is a drain, E85 safe hose, 3/8 hose, and this is the 5/16 to -6, which is, this is a very cool tool that I learned, or part. It just adapts to the stock feed setup, no modification needed. So this 5/16 is used a lot on modern cars today. So let me tear this apart and show you guys the pump. This is actually a fuel cage from an FA1, because I'll be honest with you, I messed up my first one for the FA5. It's pretty much the same thing, you know, other than the pump being smaller. The SI has a bigger pump than the R18, but it's the same damn thing. So again, nothing hard for you guys to do. So let me tear this apart and show you guys. Alright, so tore everything down. Glad that I took this apart, because as you can see, the gunk that is inside from that fuel, and this sock, man, look at this sock. I may get a brand new sock, or just soak that in some diesel. But as you can see, the pump, so recommended upgrade. This is a DW300 Deechworks, however you pronounce it. I'm sorry. It's a OEM replacement, or it's just plug and play, no modification need. The main important thing to make this whole fuel pressure regulator work, or return system to work, this is a dummy. This replaced the OEM fuel pressure regulator inside the tank itself, inside the cage itself. It goes right in here. You can crush the OEM one, which bumps up the fuel pressure, or you can get this part online. Just type in fuel pressure regulator blank for Toyota FRS, BRZ, Subaru, Toyota 86, FRS, BRZ, whatever they're called. You know, Civic inside, they work on RSX, you know, anything that has a returnless fuel setup. I'm not sure on the Mazda Speed. Now the Mazda Speed has a weird setup because it's not return, but at the same time it's returnless. It doesn't have a secondary line going back to the pump, to the tank. I want to make one for that as well. You know, like I said, man, whatever I learned with this Civic SI, I want to incorporate it to that platform. So I plan on making my own cage for that when I take that out, which is a whole nother headache, because you have to drop the whole tank just to get to that fuel cage, which is dumb. But it's a whole nother topic. So I want to make my own for that. But this, you know, this is a magic key right here. Like I said, you can crush the OEM one. This is the fitting I was showing you guys earlier, 560 to 6AN, which it just goes right in here. I'm still using my OEM feed, you know, so it goes right into the pump. You know, I haven't switched any of that. You know, you have an evap here, and I just drilled a hole for my return. That's all. That's what I was saying. I don't think I would make or get any business of making a plug and play kit for this, because this is nothing hard. Like I said, I'm not a mechanic, so you guys can do this yourself as well. It just takes some time. You just need to have the actual pump in front of you. You can watch this video all you want, but in my opinion, until you have the actual cage and everything in front of you, you'll be able to make sense of, you know, all what I'm saying here. But I personally don't think it's hard. But I'm gonna go to the junkyard and get me a fuck ton of this out of a FA1, doesn't matter, FG1, and they're all the same thing. Just the pump is bigger for the SI, but they're all the same. And just make me a few kits and just put them on the side just for the future. The hole that I drilled, I just installed this fitting right here. This is a 6AN to a lock nut. So it's a 6AN for the return from the rail, and it fits on. It goes into this fitting I have here to a 3/8 barb and the 3/8 hose, and that's it. This is my return. So to the guy, hopefully you watch this, man. Hopefully, if you have any questions, man, just, you know, shoot me a message. I'm real busy, but I try to answer as much as I can. And there's lots of write-ups on this for the internet. So again, I don't think it's anything hard. So what I'll do on the next video, when I get another setup, because I'm definitely going to do it. Hopefully you guys will be interested in it. I'll do a part 2 on this, and I'll show how I drill it out, and, you know, all this webbing here, how I cut all that out. And yeah, build a new setup. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys, you know, learned something or find this a little bit entertaining. Hope you guys are still staying safe out there with what's going on. And you know, just keep living life, man. So much love, peace, respect.